Okay, everybody, this is my spoiler review of Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. If you haven't seen it yet, check out my spoiler-free review linked below, and then come back to this after you've seen the film. So, jumping into this, I was really excited about this film. I am a huge Jonathan Majors fan. I've been saying since Lovecraft Country, this guy is different, he's special, and he's showing it here, and he doesn't disappoint as Kang. I think it's more the other way, where the film, to me, disappointed him. And I'd said in my spoiler free review that there's so many just pacing issues with this film, and the editing's weird, and that you feel like you're stuck in one setting. I felt like with the Quantum Realm, we were just in those three locations, and it wasn't really going anywhere else. And it subconsciously made me start to just feel numb watching this film. And I didn't expect that, because I was really engaged from the beginning when they got sent into the Quantum Realm. It was ready to go. There was a momentum building in the film. I liked what they were building with Cassie and Scott's relationship. And then it just kind of got stuck for me. And I thought that all these new side characters, and you have William Jackson Harper here, his character, I thought those are all very forgettable. And especially the character who is this woman who's like wants revenge. And she felt very one note, like a lot of these side characters did, but too one note. You can get away without side characters if there's a little more complexity, which Marvel should be able to do. They're better quality than that to have very like one note characters going around. So those felt very rushed and not developed. And I just felt like this film had so much more potential on its plate. And then you see too that it's another case where they start doing a Rick and Morty writer they have here, because they're doing all this like weird stuff with the multiverse and different timelines. But you really felt that Rick and Morty humor with the one character that's pink there, that's like the jelly. That's not my cup of tea. I'm not a big Rick and Morty fan, so I just didn't like it, but maybe that's a bias of mine. But it was really felt just ripped out of a Rick and Morty cartoon, and that character was just placed in this film. So wasn't crazy about that. I'm not against what they do with MODOK. I don't have any connection though to MODOK like some people might have from the comics or previous iterations. I enjoyed it with him. I thought it was fine. It didn't blow me away, but I thought it was like more of the funny moments in the film that landed. I think for me, just watching this movie, it was bizarre that I feel like with Kang, we didn't get enough of a motivation for him, of why he was doing what he was doing right now. I wanted more into the Kang the Conqueror right now. And then it was discouraging to me that he disappeared at the end, and then it's supposed to get us excited with the post credits of all these Kangs, but I still wanted more of Kang the Conqueror and knowing about what was going on with him. I still feel like I didn't learn much about him before I moved to another Kang. So this is where I'm getting frustrated now with all these multi-variants and versions of people in the Marvel Universe now, and we've already had a lot of multiverse stuff now for a while, so it's disheartening to me as a Marvel fan that we're still going with it. You know, I'm over it already. Like, I miss just being invested in one type of person as their character or one type of timeline, because I feel like if you keep switching it up, you don't get attached to anything or anyone. It's just changing constantly, and it's really hurting Marvel, I think, right now, and still is. The post credits, right? Like, I don't think I'm ever excited when they set up a show, right? Like, oh, it's just Loki's gonna see Kang again. We knew this, right? Or with the Kang the Conqueror post credits, we knew there's gonna be multiple Kangs. We've already seen multiple Kangs with He Who Remains. I think that's just not something to get me excited. So I don't know why there's people jumping up and down about those post credits. Doesn't make any sense to me. I thought though that Catherine Newton was great as Cassie. I thought the life she brought to the screen was great, and she just was exciting. There was an energy she was bringing to the film that the film needed more of. I think that Jonathan Majors was incredible, and come on, that scene when he first meets Scott and Cassie, I wanted more of that. That was Marvel doing something different than even their tone. It was intense, it was dark. That's what you want for the new big bad. So why didn't they give him that big ending at the end? I mean, no one in all of Scott Lang's family passed away. He didn't really cause any big deaths or change. So that was really disappointing. If this is going to be the big bad for the next couple films, what is this setting up? It still felt like just a typical villain in the sense of he loses at the end and the family wins with not big consequences. So I felt like it could have had more power coming in it, where that one scene had that magic, right? Where it was letting Jonathan Majors do his thing, letting Kang be this intimidating villain. And for him to lose at the end of the film, I don't know. It didn't sit right with me, especially kicking off a phase. We know how Marvel works, and having to set up a big bad that will appear in other films. To have him lose makes me think, well, is he just going to keep losing all these variants? Like, I don't know. I didn't like that. I wanted more of what we saw with him and Cassie and Scott in the beginning of his appearances, and that there would be a scene like that at the end, and that someone would pay the price. Someone. It's a pretty easy decision too. Like Hank and Janet, they're older characters. They've been around. Like you could have even asked one of them, and I still think that would have been enough. But still, you could have, and everyone's okay. It's just a happy, safe, very Marvel safe ending, which I didn't appreciate for this kind of character in Kang, and setting up excitement and getting people back in and setting up more emotions for this big phase coming and this big villain. I just didn't feel that. And the film, it just feels so green screen to the point where you sit there and you're like, what am I watching, right? I don't know. I just feel like in the hands of somebody else, this kind of weird film like a James Gunn or Taika Waititi would have done a way better job. This is Peyton Reed directing, who did 1 and 2, where Ant-Man 1 to me was fine, but Ant-Man 2 I thought was one of the worst Marvel films I've seen. So it doesn't surprise me when you see who's behind it. You know, for the big thing this is, kicking off Phase 5, that it was, to me, disappointing in that sense, and that it was weak. And again, like I said, there wasn't great pacing in this film. The flow was off. I thought the best pacing was in the beginning, and then it decides to show you some of Kang's past with Janet, but not enough to learn about Kang himself in those moments either. It was just to learn about the plot and what was happening with his device that he needed, really the MacGuffin that he needed. So it didn't give enough Kang backstory that we really, really could have used in this film. And again, more motivation. He talks about things, but we don't know why he's so angry and feeling the way. And if they're saying that for other films, that's the problem I have with Marvel films right now. It's so much set up for other stuff. Let something new and unique feel here in this film. Pay off now. I don't want to wait for the next Kang version. I want this Kang version to be awesome and, you know, leave a memory for us. But having said that, I didn't hate the film. I thought it was a good film, and I didn't think it was bad. I didn't love it. It's a 7.8 for me, but that's really raised by obviously Jonathan Major's performance as Kang and Catherine Newton here as Cassie, and Michelle Pfeiffer did great as Janet. This was her best performance in the MCU to date, and they had so much more to do here. So I was really impressed with those performances. So I think that, again, that brings it up. And for me, like, I was happy I saw it. I'm happy I got to see that amazing scene with Kang, Scott, and Cassie when he first captures him. I still think there were some funny moments, but not a lot of funny moments that landed either, though. Like, it wasn't a lot of laughing in the theater. I was full with other critics. It was pretty quiet. So it wasn't like the funniest Marvel film. And if it's not going to be the funniest Marvel film, that's fine. But if you're going to go darker tones, stick with it. You know, bring it. Like, don't just tease us with certain scenes and then go the safe route. Like, it all just ends up nicely and happy at the end. And yeah, they hint Scott, you know, oh, Kang's gonna come back, but I want the one now. I want something more now. This is still set up. And yeah, I don't know. I just think this is not what Marvel needed right now to get people back, like, as invested as they were. It just wasn't. But it was still good. You know, I didn't hate it. So I'm giving it a 7.8. And I still think the biggest problem was, again, the letdown of the quantum realm, right? Just thinking it was feeling like this one setting, not moving around enough or feeling in different looking locations. But let me know what you thought of it. All spoilers welcome. I read every comment, try to respond as many as I can. Please make sure to subscribe so you don't miss one of my reviews. I do movie reviews, TV reviews, and celebrity interviews. And please follow me at Steve Varley Show on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok for more of me. And I'll see you next time.